conversations with God or a high level of beings or aliens, whatever. Book 3, trilogy, chapter 20 or last chapter. Wait, hold it. You can't quit now. I have more questions about ithas. Are they someday going to appear on Earth to save us? Will they rescue us from our own madness by bringing us new technologies to control the planet's polarities, clean our atmosphere, harness our sun's energy, regulate our weather, cure all disease, and bring us a better quality of life in our own little nirvana? They do it bit by bit, but not totally. You may not want that to happen. Hubs know this. They know that such an intervention would only subjugate you to them, make them your gods, rather than the gods to whom you now claim to be subjugated. The truth is, you are subjugated to no one, and this is what the beings from highly advanced cultures would have you understand. If, therefore, they would share with you some technologies, this would be given in a way and at a rate which would allow you to recognize your own powers and potentials, not those of another. Yeah, and they have done X-ray, computer, laser, and many other taser, all these machines for diagnosis have all been given by these aliens. Similarly, if Hubs were to share with you some teachings, this too would be shared in a way and at a rate that would allow you to see greater truths and your own powers and potentials, and not make gods of your teachers. Correct. Too late, we already done that. Yes, I have noticed it, which brings us to one of our greatest teachers, the man called Jesus. Even those Jews who did not make him a good have recognized, which brings us to one of our greatest teachers, the man called Jesus. Even Jews who did not make him a god have recognized the greatness of his teachings. Teachings which have been largely distorted. Why is Jesus one of these hubs, aliens, highly evolved beings? Do you think he was highly evolved? Yes, as was the Buddha, Lord Krishna, Moses, Babaji, Sai Baba, and Paramahansa Yogananda, for that matter. Indeed, and many others you have not mentioned. Well, in Book 2, you hinted that Jesus and these other teachers may have come from outer space, that they may have been visitors here, sharing with us the teachings and wisdom of highly evolved beings. So it's time to learn the other shoe fall. Why is Jesus a spaceman? You are all spacemen. What does that mean? You are not natives of this planet you now call home. We aren't? No, the genetic stuff of which you are made was placed on your planet deliberately. It didn't just show up there by accident. The elements that have formed your life didn't combine themselves through some process of biological serendepity. There was a plan involved. There is something much larger going on here. Do you imagine that the billion and one biochemical reactions it has taken to cause life as you know it to appear on your planet all occurred haphazardly? Do you see this outcome as simply a fortuitous chain of random events producing a happy result by chance? No, of course not. I argue that there was a plan, God's plan. Good, because you are right. It was all my idea. So this one is the Queen of Orion talking, the reptilian Queen of Orion. And it was all my plan and my process. So what then? Are you saying that you are a spaceman? Where have you traditionally looked when you've measured yourself to be talking to me? Up. I will look it up. Why not down? So it's down there, the Agatha. I don't know. Everybody always looks up to heavens. From where I come? I guess yes. Does that make me a spaceman? I don't know. Does it? And if I'm a spaceman, would that make me any less a god? Based on what most of you I say you can do. No, I guess not. And if I'm a god, does that make me any less a spaceman? It would all depend on our definitions, I guess. What if I'm not a man at all, but rather a force and energy in the universe that is the universe, and that is, in fact, all there is? What if I'm the collective? This is atoms, but it's a being that is trying to express itself as a atoms, collective, void, or something like that, corks. Well, or maybe the collective is a lot of ethas. Well, that is in fact what you say that you are in this dialogue. You said that. Indeed I have. And do you believe it? Yes, I think I do, at least in the sense that I think God is all there is. Good. Now, do you think there are such things as what you call spacemen? You mean beings from outer space? Yes. Yes, I do. I think I've always believed that. And now, here you have told me there are, so I should really believe it. And are these beings from outer space part of all there is? Well, yes, of course, they are from the void. And if I am all there is, wouldn't that make me a spaceman? Well, yes, but that definition you are also me. Bingo! Yes, but you've danced away from my question. I asked you if Jesus was a spaceman. And I think you know what I mean. I mean, was he a being from outer space? Or was he born here on Earth? Your question once again assumes either or. Think outside the box. Reject either or and consider both and. Are you saying Jesus was born on earth but has spaceman blood, so to speak? Who was Jesus' father? Joseph? Yes, but who is said to have conceived him? Some people believe that it was an immaculate conception. They say that the Virgin Mary was visited by an archangel. Jesus was conceived by the Holy Ghost, born of the Virgin Mary. Do you believe this? I don't know what to believe about that. Well, if Mary was visited by an archangel, from where do you imagine the angel would have come? from heaven. Did you say from the heavens? I said from heaven, from another realm, from God. I see. And did we not just agree that God is a spaceman? Not exactly. We agree that God is everything, and in that, since spacemen are part of everything, God is a spaceman in the same sense that God is ice. All of us, God is everything. God is the collective, the atoms. Good. So this archangel who visited Mariam came from another realm, a heavenly realm. Yes, a realm deep within yourself, because heaven is within you. I didn't say that. Well, then a realm within the inner space of the universe. No, I wouldn't say that either, because I don't know what that means. Then from where? A realm in outer space? Long pause. You are playing with words now. I'm doing the best I can. I'm using words in spite of their awful limitations to get as close as I can to an idea, a concept of things, which in truth cannot be described in the limited vocabulary of your language or understood within the limitations of your present level of perception. I'm seeking to open you to a new perception by using your language in a new way. Okay, so you are saying that Jesus was fathered by a highly evolved being from some other realm, and thus he was a human, but also a heb or alien. There have been many highly evolved beings walking in your planet, and there are many today. You mean there are aliens among us? I can see that your work in newspapers, radio talk shows, and TV has served you well. How do you mean? You can find a way to sensationalize anything. I didn't call high evolved beings aliens, and I didn't call Jesus an alien. There is nothing alien about God. There are no aliens on earth. Okay, so how to call it? So that these beings are from here, yes. This is what it means. We are all one. If we are all one, no individuation of us is alien to itself. Some individuation of us, that is, some individual beings, remember more than others. The process of remembering, reuniting with God, or becoming once again one with the all, with the collective, is a process you call evolution. You are all evolving beings. Some of you are highly evolved, that is, you remember more. You know who you really are. Jesus knew it and declared it. Okay, so I get that we are going to do a word dance on the Jesus thing. Not at all. I will tell you alright. The spirit of the human you call Jesus was not of this earth. I think he was serious. That the spirit simply filled the human body. So why you say he's not an alien? Playful words. If he was from Sirius, then he's an alien. You are saying yourself that he's not from Earth. So that spirit simply filled a human body, allowed itself to learn as a child, to become a man, and self-realized. He was not the only one to have done this. All spirits are not of this earth. All souls come from another realm, then enter the body. Yet not all souls self-realize in a particular lifetime or reincarnation. Jesus did. He was a highly evolved being, what some of you have called a god, and he came to you for a purpose, on a mission, to save our souls. In a sense, yes, but not from everlasting damnation. There is no such thing as you have conceived it. His mission is to save you from not knowing and never experiencing who you really are. His intention was to demonstrate that by showing you what you can become, indeed, what you are if you will only accept it. Jesus sought to lead by example. That's why he said, I am the way and the life. Follow me. He didn't mean follow me in the sense that you would all become his followers, but in the sense that you would all follow his example and become one with God. He said, I and the Father are one. He's the son of Enkaya. And Yah, my brother. He couldn't have put it more plainly. So, Jesus did not come from God. He came from outer space. Your mistake is in separating the two. You keep insisting on making a distinction, just as you insist on making a separation and a distinction between humans and God. And I tell you, there is no distinction. There is no God. There is only atoms. I don't believe in God. There is only creatures. Okay. Can you tell me a few final things about beings from other worlds before we end? Why do they wear? How do they communicate? And please don't say this is still all about idle curiosity. I think I have demonstrated that there may be something we can learn here. Alright, briefly then. In highly evolved cultures, beings see no need to be clothed except when some kind of covering is required to protect them from elements or conditions over which they have no control, or when ornaments are used to indicate some rank or honor. I think I fit this category. Many people here on earth like to stay naked. A Hebrew would not understand why you wear total body coverings when you do not have to. Yeah, because they have so much to hide. She certainly wouldn't understand the concept of shame or modesty, and I could never relate to the idea of coverings to make oneself prettier to a preacher. To a Heb or a HGB or a high-level being, there could be nothing more beautiful than the naked body itself. And so the concept of wearing something on top of it to somehow render it more pleasing or attractive would be utterly incomprehensible. Equally incomprehensible would be the idea of spending most of one's time in boxes in apartments which you call buildings and houses. HB live in the natural environment and you only stay inside a box if the environment become inhospitable, which it rarely does, since highly evolved civilizations create, control, and care for their environments. Good. I love the idea. Stay in the open, stay with nature, and stay naked. HGBs also understand that they are one with their environment, that they share more than space with their environments, but also share mutually dependent relationship. A HGB could never understand why you would damage or destroy that which is supporting you, and so can only conclude that you do not understand that it is your environment which supports you, that you are beings of very limited observational skills, correct? As for communication, A HB uses as his first level of communication the aspect of his being which you would call feelings. HBs are aware of their feelings and the feelings of others, and no attempt is ever made by anyone to hide feelings. HBs would find it self-defeating and therefore incomprehensible to hide feelings, and they complain that no one understands how they feel. Feelings are the languages of the soul, and highly evolved beings understand this. It's the purpose of communication and a society of HGBs to know each other in truth. A HGB therefore cannot and could never understand your human concept called lying. To be successful in getting one's way by communication and in truth would be for a HGB a victory so hollow as to render it not a victory at all, but a staggering defeat. HGBs do not tell the truth. HGBs are the truth. Their whole being comes from what is so and what works, and HGB learned long ago in a time beyond memory when communication is still accomplished through guttural utterances that untruth does not work. It's true. Very, very true. You have not yet learned this in your society. On your planet, much of society is based on secrecy. Many of you believe it is what you keep from each other, not what you tell to each other, that makes life work. Secrecy has thus become your social code, your code of ethics. It is truly your secret code. This is not true of all of you. Your ancient cultures, for instance, and your indigenous people do not live by such a code. And many individuals in your present society have refused to adopt these behaviors. Yet, your government runs by this code. Your businesses adopt it, and many of your relationships reflect it. Lying about things large and small has become so accepted by so many that they even lie about lying. Thus, this is a way of psychopathy. It is called psychopathy and sociopath. Thus, you have developed a secret code about your secret code, like the fact that the emperor is wearing no clothes. Everybody knows it, but nobody's talking about it. You even try to pretend it is not so. And in this, you are lying to yourself. Correct. Very, very true. It's all about put everything under the carpet and hide from everybody else. You have made this point before. I'm repeating in this dialogue the essential points, the main points you must get if you truly are to change these things, as you say you wish to do. And so I'll say it again. The differences between human cultures and highly evolved cultures is that highly evolved beings, 1. Observe fully. 2. Communicate truthfully. They see what works and say what's so. This is another tiny but profound change which would immeasurably improve life on your planet. And this is not, by the way, a question of morals. There are no moral imperatives in a heavy society, and that would be a concept equally as puzzling as lying. It is simply a matter of what is functional, of what brings benefit. Correct. Be true to yourself. HB have no morals, not as you understand them. The idea of some group dividing set of values by which individual habits are called upon to live without violating their understanding of what works, which is that each individual is the sole and final arbiter of what is, and is not appropriate behavior for them. The discussion is always around what works for a head society, what is functional and produces benefit for all, not around what humans would call right and wrong. But isn't that the same thing? Haven't we simply called what works right and what doesn't work for us wrong? You have attached the guilt and shame to those labels, concepts equally foreign. Oh my God, I'm having difficulty to pronounce this word. Foreign to HMBs. Foreigner to HGBs, and you have labeled an astonishing number of things wrong, not because they don't work, but simply because you imagine them to be inappropriate. Sometimes not even in your eyes, but in the eyes of God. That's not God. You have thus constructed artificial definitions of what works and what doesn't. Definitions having nothing to do with what's really so. Honestly expressing one's feeling, for example, is often deemed by human society as wrong. Such a conclusion could never be arrived at by a HB, since precise worthiness of feelings facilitates life in any community or cluster. So, as I said, a HB would never hide feelings or find it socially correct to do so. It would be impossible in any event, because a HB receives vibes, actual vibrations from other beings, which make the feelings plain enough, just as you can sometimes feel the air when you walk into a room. A HB can feel what another HB is thinking and experiencing. Oh, this is tricky, very tricky, but I wouldn't mind anyway. Actual utterances, what you would call words, are rarely, if ever, used. This telepathic communication occurs between all highly evolved sentient beings. Indeed, it could be said that the degree to which a species or a relationship between members of the same species has evolved is demonstrated by the degree to which beings require the use of words to convey feelings, desires, or information. And before you ask the question, yes, human beings can develop, and some have developed, the same capacity. Thousands of years ago, in fact, it was normal. You have since regressed to the use of primal utterances, noises actually, to communicate. But many of you are returning to a cleaner form of communication, more accurate and more elegant. This is especially true between loved ones, emphasizing a major truth: caring creates communication. Where there is deep love, words are visually unnecessary. The reverse of this axiom is also true. The more words you have to use with each other, the less time you must be taken to care for each other. because caring creates communication. Ultimately, all real communication is about truth, and ultimately the only real truth is love. That is why when love is present, so is communication. And when communication is difficult, it's a sign that love is not fully present. That is beautifully put, I must say, beautifully communicated. Thank you. To summarize then, the model for life in a high-level society, beings live in clusters, or what you would call small intentional communities. These clusters are not further organized into cities, states, or nations, but each interacts with the others on a co-equal basis. There are no governments as you would understand them, and no laws. There are councils or conclaves, usually of elders, and there are what could be best be translated into your language as mutual agreements. These have been reduced to a triangular code: ordinance, honesty, responsibility. Highly evolved beings have decided long ago that this is how they choose to live together. They have made this choice based not on a moral structure or spiritual revelation that some other being or group has brought forth, but rather on a simple observation of what is so and what works. And there truly are no wars and no conflicts. No, mainly because, but there were. Not, let's not lie, there were many wars before among these beings. No, mainly because a high level of the being shares everything he has, and would give you anything you sought to take by force. He does this out of his awareness that everything belongs to everyone anyway, and that he can always create more of what he gave away, if he really desires it. There is no concept of ownership or loss in a society of Asian beings, but it has never been this way before, who understand that they are not physical beings, but beings. Being physical, they also understand that all beings proceed from the same source, and thus we are all one. I know you said this before, but even if someone was threatening a HEB with his life, there would still be no conflict. There would be no argument. He would simply lay down his body. I found it hard to believe, maybe now, but long time ago there were always fight and war in the sky. It is not true. Not all HB is so peaceful like that as they put up to be. Literally leaving the body there for you. He would then create another body if he chose to, by coming into physicality again as a fully formed being, or by return as the newly conceived offspring of a loving pair of other beings. This is by far the preferred method of re-entry into physicality, because no one is more honored in highly evolved societies than a newly created offspring, and the opportunities for growth are unparalleled. This is called reincarnation. Hebes have no fear of what your culture calls death, because HB knows that they live forever, and it's just a matter of what form they are going to take. HBs can live in a physical body usually indefinitely because a HB has learned to take care of the body and the environment. If for some reason having to do with the physical laws, a HB body is no longer functional, the HB simply leaves it. Joyfully return its physical matter to the all of everything for recycling. That's called the second death. What you understand as the dust into dust. You understand? Let me go back a bit. I know you say there are no laws as such, but what if someone does not behave according to the triangular code? Then what? Kaboom? No, no kaboom. There is no trial or punishment. Just a simple observation of what so and what works. It's carefully explained that what the being has done is now at variance with what works, and that when something does not work for the group, it ultimately will not work for the individual, because the individual is the group and the group is the individual. All HBs get this very quickly. Hive mind, usually early in what you would call youth. So it is extremely rare that a mature HB is found to act in a way which produces a what so that is not what works. But when one does, he is simply allowed to correct his mistake. Using the triangular code, he is first made aware of all the outcomes related to something he has thought or said or done. Then he is allowed to assess and declare his role in producing those outcomes. Finally, he is given an opportunity to take responsibility for those outcomes by putting corrective or remedial or healing measures into place. What if he refuses to do so? A highly evolved being would never refuse to do so. It is inconceivable. He would then not be a highly evolved being. And you are now talking about a different level of sentient being altogether. Where does a HB learn all this stuff? In school? There is no school system in a alien or HB society, merely a process of education by which offsprings are reminded of what so and what works. Offsprings are raised by elders, not by those who conceive them. They usually don't allow the youngest one to raise their children. They are just the one who conceives, but not the one who raises. It's always the elder, just like in the old societies and old tribes. Though they are not necessarily separated from their parents during the process, who may be with them whenever they wish and spend as much time with them as they choose. In what you would call school, actually best translated as learning time, offspring set their own curriculum, choosing which skills they would like to acquire rather than being told what they are going to have to learn. Motivation is thus at its highest level, and life skills are acquired quickly, easily, and joyfully. The triangular code, these are not really codified rules, but this is the best term one can find in your languages. It's not something which is pounded into their young HB, but something which is acquired almost by osmosis through the behaviors modeled from the child by adults. Unlike a society in which adults model behaviors opposite to those which they want their children to learn, in highly evolved cultures, adults understand that children do what they see others doing. It would never occur to HBs, to Hibs, to place their offspring for many hours in front of a device that shows pictures of behaviors they'd like their offspring to avoid. Such a decision would be to a Hib incomprehensible. It would be equally incomprehensible if a Hib did do this, to then deny that the picture had anything to do with their offsprings. Suddenly aberrant behaviors. I will say again that the difference between Hib society and human society breaks down to one really very simple element, which we shall call truthful observation. And in Hib societies, beings acknowledge everything they see. In human society, many deny what they see. They see TV ruin their children and they ignore it. They see violence and are losing used as entertainment and deny the contradiction. They observe that tobacco harms the body and pretend it does not. They see a father who is drunken and abusive, and the whole family denies it, letting no one say a word about it. Yeah, in some cases even the father abused the child sexually wise, and the whole family behaves, nothing is happening around that sick family group. They observe that over thousands of years their religions have failed utterly to change massive behaviors and deny this too. They see clearly that their governments do more to oppress than to assist, and they ignore it. They see a healthcare system that is really a disease care system, spending 1/10 of its resources on preventing disease and 9/10 on managing it, and deny that profit motives is what stops any real progress on educating people in how to act and eat and live in a way which promotes good health. Correct. They see that eating the flesh of animals that have been slaughtered after having been force-fed chemical-laden foods is not doing their health any good, yet they deny what they see. It's true. Very, very true. What a shame. They do more than that. They try to sue talk show hosts who they even discuss the subject. There is a wonderful book that explores the whole food topic with exquisite insight. It's called Diet for a New America by Johnny Robbins. People read that book and deny that it makes any sense. That's the point. Much of your race lives in denial. They deny not just the painful, obvious observations of everyone around them, but the observation of their own eyes. They deny their personal feelings and eventually their own truth. Highly evolved beings, which some of you are becoming, deny nothing. They observe what's so. They see clearly what works. Use the simple tools, life becomes simple. The process is honored. Yes, but how does the process work? To answer that, I have to make a point that I have made before, repeatedly. In fact, in this dialogue, everything depends on who you think you are. in what you are trying to do. If your objective is to live a life of peace, joy, and love, violence does not work, correct? This has already been demonstrated. If your objective is to live a life of good health and a great longevity, consuming dead flesh, smoking non-carcinogens, and drinking volumes of nerve-deadening, brain-frying liquid does not work. This has already been demonstrated. If your objective is to raise offspring free of violence and rage, putting them directly in front of vivid depictions of violence and rage for years does not work. This has already been demonstrated. If your objective is to care for Earth and wisely husband her resources, acting as if those resources are limitless does not work. This has already been demonstrated. If your objective is to discover and cultivate a relationship with a loving God, so that religion can make a difference in the affairs of humans, then teaching of a God of punishment and terrible retribution does not work. This too has already been demonstrated. Motive is everything. Objectives determine outcomes. Life proceeds out of your intention. Your true intention is revealed in your actions, and your actions are determined by your true intention. As with everything in life, and life itself is a circle. Habits see the circles, humans do not. Habits respond to what is so, humans are not. Habit tells the truth always, humans too often lie to themselves as well as others. Habits say one thing and do what they say. Humans say one thing and do another. Deep down, you know that something is wrong, that you intended to go to Seattle, but you are in San Jose. You see the contradiction in your behaviors, and you are truly ready now to abandon them. You see clearly both what is so and what works, and you are becoming unwilling any further to support the division between the two. Yours is a race awakening. Your time of fulfillment is at hand. You need not to be discouraged by what you have heard here, for the groundwork has been laid for a new experience, a larger reality, and all this was merely preparation for it. You are ready now to step through the door. This dialogue in particular has been intended to throw open the door, forced to point to it. See? There it is, for the light of truth will forever show the way, and the light of truth is what you have been given here. Take this truth now and live it. Hold this truth now and share it. Embrace this truth now and treasure it forevermore. For in these 3 books, the Conversations with God trilogy, have I spoken to you again of what is so. There is no need to go further. There is no need to ask more questions or hear more answers or satisfy more curiosities or provide more examples or offer more observations. All you need in order to create the life you desire you have found here in this trilogy as presented so far. There is no need to go further. Yes, you have more questions. Yes, you have more. But what if, yes, you are not done yet with this exploration you have enjoyed? Because you are never done with any exploration. It is clear then that this book could go on forever, and it will not. Your conversations with God will, but this book will not. For the answer to any other question you could ask will be found here. and this now complete trilogy. All we can do now is repeat, re-amplify, return to the same wisdom over and over again. Even this trilogy wants an exercise in that. There is nothing new here, but simply unshine to wisdom revisited. It is good to revisit, it is good to become familiar once again. This is the process of remembrance of which I have so often spoken. You have nothing to learn, you have only to remember. So revisit this trilogy often, return to its pages time and time again. When you have a question that you feel must not be answered here, read the passages over again. You will find that your question has been answered. Yet if you really feel it has not, then seek your own answers. Have your own conversation. Create your own truth. And this will you experience who you really